Okay, so 4 months ago, I promised to do a video on The Color Purple. 4 months ago. Look, you guys are gonna have to forgive me. I have been slumping. So I'm gonna get it together. I promise you I'm gonna get it together. Uh, I got a lot of catching up in life to do. And one of them is on this YouTube channel. I got a lot of catching up. Um, anyway, I'm even in my living room, my messy, messy living room with ever since COVID, my kids have taken over my dining area with all of their school stuff. And it's just become chaos, organized chaos. My mother has taken up, look, but that's not what you're here for. And I'm not trying to excuse myself. The Color Purple. Okay, so I reread the book. I have to admit that I've read excerpts. I didn't read the full book before. And Color Purple, the very first movie that came out, I was born. So clearly I did not watch it the year that it came out. Um, but it used to play on television all the time, all the time. And it made me think, first off, the look of the first original movie, it was, I think the only time it was sunny was at the very end where they are at church, where she comes in, Shug comes in and sings in her dad's church. And when um Celie and her sister meet up, see when Celie sees her sister coming back from Africa and sees her kids for the first time and they all hug. I think that's the only time I saw the sun. It was always kind of gray. It was gritty. I think Oprah played a tremendous job as Harpo. I think you had Celie, who played Whoopi Goldberg, who played a fantastic job. Danny Glover, hated him. He played a very, very good job at being hated. I mean, it was a gut-wrenching movie. And even as a child, I feel like I grew up with this movie because I've seen it so much. I grew up with it. It was kind of a part of me. And I say all that because this film, okay, so when I saw the play, the first time I saw the play, because I've seen it multiple times and I've seen it with Michelle Williams being Shug, um, and I have seen Fantasia and on Broadway. And I'm gonna say that I've seen it at the Amundsen. I've seen it at sorry y'all. I'm making some Legos. I'm making the Home Alone Lego set. And so I have um so I am a huge proponent, right, of watching this and saw the play both times. First of all, Michelle does a phenomenal Suge Knight, Suge Knight, Suge, sorry. So no complaints there. I must admit to you that I struggled with um the play a little bit. I took my mother once to see it and a friend and a couple friends. And they were like, wait a second, Celie's gay? Suge and Celie are together? And I'm like, yeah, they do get together. FYI, Alice Walker is a lesbian. And the thing and this has been a criticism, even though most people don't understand this level of criticism, but you gotta remember in 1981, I think the movie came out in 1981 or 1982. 1981, I wasn't born yet. Um, and there was no absolute way where you're going to get Steven Spielberg to come out with the movie that there was a kiss, it was a peck between Celie and Suge, but there was no way that you were going to get a full out relationship. So in the play, you get to see that Celie has a full out relationship, um, that she has a pants business, and she does live and be with Suge. I think that the so I get it that people, and the music is pretty dynamic for sure because it's a musical. So that doesn't bother me at all. Now, and to me, making this a musical makes a ton of sense. So okay, so let me get to the next one. So I knew that coming into the remake of Color Purple, it was going to be a musical. To me, it makes perfect sense for this to be a musical. In the original, Suge was a musician. You had a whole church music at the end. So it's not so the notion that you wouldn't put music towards the rest of it makes no sense to me. It's a perfect fit for a musical. Unlike some other things like Mean Girls, the musical. Ugh, the movie I did not watch. First of all, I'm not a big fan of the original movie. I did not go see the play because I'm not a fan of the original movie. And there is zero possibility. If it wasn't for my daughter, I wouldn't have seen the remake. Boy, did I hate that remake. But that's neither here nor there. We're not here for Mean Girls. We are here for The Color Purple. So before I saw The Color Purple again, I had to pause because I was like, Hayden really wanted to see The Color Purple. And I was like, and it makes me go back and forth on this because part of me is like, well, this is a good conversation starter. We can really discuss this tremendously because you have this whole issue with Celie being touched by what she thought was her father. And we know now that it wasn't her father, a it was a stepfather. She didn't know that it wasn't her true biological father. Um, so we know that. We just are struggling with we see um so I wasn't sure on, I'm constantly teach my kids good touch, bad touch. And because I would say that we are definitely a family, well, not my husband, but my two kids, we don't all walk around nude for sure. I don't walk around the house nude. But um my kids, especially my daughter for sure, naturally she's covering herself up, which is important, because she's developing. My son is still young, on the young side. So, but they used to take showers together when they were little, and or baths together when they were little. But now, but I had to stop that because um as they were getting older, they begin to really understand the concept that boys have different anatomy than girls. And so then they start asking questions like, what's this? What's that? And it's like, okay, y'all. So it happened pretty early. Um, but my point is that good touch is bad touch had to be established in school. I mean, before they even went to school, before they even really around anybody, it's like nobody touches you here, front, bump, boom, boom, don't. um, my son is affectionate. He likes to hug all the time. My daughter likes to, like they're affectionate little kids. So it's like, keep hands, touch, With all that being said, I wasn't comfortable, terribly comfortable with this, right? Again. Um, and then I had to think like my mother didn't censor anything with me as a child. I'm not saying that that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just telling you that that's a thing. She really did not censor touch. You know, she didn't censor movies. So I don't know if of, however young I was, definitely younger than my daughter, should be watching this kind of film. Needless to say, but this has no cultural relevance to my daughter at all. It wasn't like anybody other character. The only person that character that she would have been interested in is little Celie's sister. And I had a coworker, she was a mentor, and she loved Color Purple because of this sister relationship. And I was like, I always was weirded out by that because she was a white woman. Because of all the other issues, how do you focus on the sister relationship? Like that seems so not as important. I mean, it's important, but it seems so there's so many things going on. So I read the book incomplete, and it is a epistatory book. Did I? And and I think that it is important to note that an epistatory book is really different and um um, yeah and I think that it is an important thing to realize that these epistatory books are really important and they're rare. I think that it's really interesting to have let me make sure. Let me look up something real quick. No. Okay, because I remember talking about epistatory, so I want to make sure I didn't do another video on this, and I know I didn't. Okay, this epistatory, it's really an interesting way to write a book. It's you don't get too many books that write this way, and when they do, it doesn't always work out well. I will say that this is not a bad book to read. I will also say it's not the best. And I know that that's controversial. I'm sorry, controversial opinion, but it is the failures with the pistatory, and even one of your most famous books that's written this way is Frankenstein. And even Mary Shelley, I think she goes in and out because there is a narrator along with she doesn't make there's a narrator within the letter. So therefore it doesn't seem like it's you forget that it's a letter, that there are letters written back and forth. Whereas this one, it is letters all the way through. So, um, One of the problems with writing it this way is that one of the problems is that the narration is you're missing details of the story. And it's very, very one-sided. The dangers of doing a one-sided story is that, I mean, because this whole book is really written through the lens of Celie, which is fine. Celie is telling her story, and it's how she lives and experiences it, which is not a nuanced perspective. It is also very difficult to do. As much as people think that it's not difficult to do, it's difficult as a writer to write from a singular standpoint because you as the writer knows everything, but you have to act as if you do not understand why all of these other characters are doing what they're doing. You only know what you are experiencing through you, which is very difficult to do. The book does get more into the relationship with Suge and Celie. And I think that it is very difficult, which is the principal reason why this remake of the book, it's not a remake of the movie. It is a revision. It is an additional perspective of The Color Purple, which is completely much more like the book than it is like the first movie. People walked in clearly from the trauma that I've seen on all online, and I have gotten back and forth with people. You did not read the book. Because if you read the book, then you would see that The Color Purple is steeped in misery for sure, and misery and trauma. Oof. But the movie is demonstrating, the first movie does a very good job at demonstrating trauma. The second movie, the second Oprah produced movie, is demonstrating more of the Black experience of community. And this is where people may not feel comfortable saying this. And I think that it's important to know. Black folks have a history of not talking out their trauma. What we normally do is instead of telling people, hey, Johnny over there does things inappropriately with children. So instead of saying, let me call the police and report that person, this is what we do. Don't bring your kids around them. Move your kids. Sit them over here. Let me see you all the time. Sister such and such is a thief. Instead of us reporting sister such and such, we'd be like, move her away from the money. And I'm not saying this is a good thing to do. What we end up doing is because of the trauma that we had with police, that we've had with white folks as a collective, the historical aspects, we deal with things internally. We self-police. We're not going to tell on you, but we're going to self-regulate what this issue is. We either we let you be. And at the same token, we somehow find a way to forgive. We may not say, I forgive you, but what we will say is, we're good. And what does we're good mean is, are you hungry? Do you need something? And that's what you get from the book. we don't throw people away. And I know that in 2024, Black folks have absolutely adopted the idea that we report everything, we tell everything. Uh, what's good for you is good for everybody. Like we are totally in a different mind space. But before 2020, and I would even say a lot of people talk about the trauma of the church, and I understand that too. I'm not saying that this is a good thing. All I'm saying is that this is what we did, where we regulated internally. How we solve things is it's not that we knew and you knew we knew, but what we were not going to do is make you feel less for coming and for being in community. Our purpose was to keep you in community, period. And I'm not saying that this is the best way to deal with things. All I'm saying is that this is how we dealt with things. And so people did not like the music of of Color Purple, the movie. I thought it was good. People did not like how collective it felt. And I think that is incorrect. The book deals with how collective they become. The book discovers that things do work out. Um, and no one's thrown away. I think I say all that to say no one was robbed or not getting an Oscar this year. Um, I think that everyone did an excellent job at their job, but I also think that it was not the best. I thought the performances were great, but it was not what I would consider giving like Oscar. It didn't ring Oscar. It rung great. I have to admit, in my mind, and I'm gonna do the review today, I believe. Um, and I always get the movie wrong. The Moon, and I know I'm late for this movie review too. Um, the Moon, the I know, I'm so bad. Um, the gosh, why can't I just I can't find it. Okay. It's the moon, it's the Walk on the Moons or the whatever. It's on Apple TV. And I'm sorry. The Moons. Okay, let me see if it pulls up. Nope, it doesn't. Moons. Oh, the killer, the killers of the flower moon. Um, that Oscar worthy. Amazing. Did a phenomenal job. Uh, actually, all of them did a phenomenal job, in my opinion. The Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, phenomenal. Now that's a phenomenal job. And the lead actress for sure. And I was so happy when she won because that was phenomenal. Um, you lost me when we talking about the the And I hate to say, like, I was wondering if I should watch the last of it, but I hate to say that I really don't want to watch the last of it. I am happy that American Fiction won, and maybe I'm gonna do a video collaborating American Fiction with the other one, but could not stand. Let me see. And I think I'm gonna block it. Poor Things. That movie was terrible. I get where they're going. I just don't like it. But anyway, um, I think that's all I have to say. I think that the book is good. It's not something that I would um stylistically, I think it's good to be studied. It's not something that I would run out and be like, you must read this. It's not one of those, it's not a must read book for me. And I know that's controversial. I get that, but it's just not for me. And it has nothing to do with the trauma. And it has really nothing to do with the language. It's just not the most compelling book for me. It's an okay book. I thought that the first Color Purple has fully captures trauma. I think the second movie captures community, and that bothers folks. And I get that. The play, to me is another, it's okay. I've seen it twice. I have zero interest. I may have seen it 3 times. I have zero interest in seeing it again. It's not a play that's like whenever it comes to town, I'm like, I got to go. Avenue Q, if that ever comes back, absolutely. Every time the Temptations come, I'm there. Uh, I'm getting front row seats to Hamilton. Yeah, the Color Purple is, it's exhausting. Okay, exhausting. That being said, I'm done, and I apologize again for my tardiness. I'm going to get back into this, I promise. Bye.